Hi everybody, this is William from the Godzilla Files coming at you today with a new review of a X Plus figure. Today we're going to be looking at the Yuji Sakai Godzilla 1991. This figure comes from the movie Godzilla vs. King Ghidorah. One of my favorites from the Heisei series. Uh, I've already done a review about the movie with my girlfriend. You can actually look at that. We posted that about last week. So something for you all to enjoy. But so let's kind of talk about the figure. This figure is a re-release of from a couple years back, maybe 2 years back. He looks great. I think everyone knows it. So let's quickly first take a look at the box art. And here it is. Real simple. I just keep the covers. I think I've said this before. I don't have room for the actual boxes themselves, but yeah, I strongly, right off the bat, I'm just gonna tell you, I strongly recommend this guy. He looks just as good as he does in this photo. So, no further ado, let's look at the figure. All right, here he is. Where to begin? It sounds like I'm a loss for words because I am. This figure is amazing. The detail is phenomenal. He's probably one of my favorite X Plus figures, and I've only had him for a couple of days. Like, every time I go to my room, my eyes catch him. That's how good of a figure he is. He's someone that you can actually put on a shelf, and people are going to be drawn to him. He's that good of a figure. And it's just little details, like along the face here, like the way the eyes catch, the light and everything like that. It looks amazing. And another thing is his mouth. You can actually see through it. I don't know if you can actually make it out here, but there's actually spots that you can actually look through and see the other side. And all this has just amazing detail. The teeth and everything. One another thing that I like about him is the look. There's a lot of Godzilla's X Plus figures, as everyone knows. One of the things why I picked this one is mostly because of his closed mouth and just the way he looks. You don't see too many of these, and I really like that. It drew me to it because it was different from all the other Godzilla figures. It usually has their mouth open or is roaring. So, I can't say enough about this guy, especially his look. The details, his hands, look amazing. Nails look good. Feet, you can see his thighs. The Heisei Godzillas were always bigger, and they had thunder thighs. So seeing that, you can definitely make that out. So it's kind of always funny that a lot of people like this look for him, but yet have a problem with Godzilla 2014, because this guy's not a skinny guy himself. Let's see. His dorsal plates, when this figure first came out, there was a Rick Boy edition, which dorsal plates lit up. The re-releases never have the Rick Boy features, which I'm okay with. I'm not going to lie to you. I don't like spending the money on the Rick Boys. I do feel that the light-up features aren't always that great. So, that's always an easy pass for me, but because it's a re-release, I don't even get that option. So, but, you know what? Still looks good either way. Now, really the big thing about this figure is actually the tail. So, you see, I actually have to kind of take Godzilla out of the frame a little bit here. So just to show you the whole tail. This is a two-piece tail. You have to connect this piece to right about here. And then the rest of it connects to Godzilla's body. Just like my last video, I had difficulty. I won't lie. I'm going to have to go online and just kind of see how everyone does these two tails. It just seems to be I seem to struggle with it for some reason. Not sure why. Um, but yeah, I love, the tail is long, but it doesn't swirl around almost like, like Space Godzilla's. Space Godzilla has a long tail, but it kind of wraps around, which you would think would take up less space, but it actually takes up more. So that's one thing I actually, one of my gripes with that figure. But this one actually just goes straight back. So even though this figure is pretty big, he doesn't take up as much room as you think he would on a shelf, which is really important. Anyone will tell you that collect these figures that spacing and also shelving become an issue sooner or later. And luckily, this guy doesn't take too much of a footprint on your shelf. You still definitely need to make sure you have enough room for the length of his tail, but once he's there, he kind of sits back like this. Something else different about him that I've never had to deal with before is a base. Well, I'm sorry, I have the Kamacruses, so this is my second base. He just goes right on here, and then he sits. If you don't use the base, he's going to kind of lean a little bit, lean back a little bit. I don't know what kind of damage that would do to the tail or to the figure itself, but, this isn't that big of a deal putting it here. You'll barely notice it. Godzilla's body does a good job of covering it and kind of showing it away. But yeah, this guy, he really is perfect. For me, this was kind of like the last Godzilla figure I wanted from X Plus. I have all the ones that really mean something to me. So right now, I can honestly say that I'm pretty happy with what I have. If this guy, honestly, he makes me want to have a Mecha King Ghidorah so bad. I would pretty much kill for one at this point. And I'm sure we'll get one. I know they're going through the King Ghidorahs now. But this one is, I would definitely like a 1991 Mecha King Ghidorah to go along with him. I think they would look great together. And finally, someone said something to me the other day. It was kind of surprising, and I've never heard this before, but yeah, this is a reissue, and whatever people tell you, this looks as good as the original release. Don't let anyone ever tell you that, it's not. These things, the re-releases are great, especially for someone like me who came into collecting later. I had no idea what X Plus figures was up until about a year ago. Also had a lot more money a year ago, but, these guys will do that to you. And that's my biggest thing I can honestly say to people. If this is someone you like, definitely go for him. He's worth all the money. He is a little bit more expensive because of the fact on what line he's part of. The Yuji Sakai line is usually a bit more expensive. Not by much. This guy wasn't out of this world expensive, so I went for him. I think he was about $180, I believe. So I would strongly recommend picking him up if you can. Flossie's Gifts is a great place. That's where I get all my X Plus figures pretty much. I can't say enough. They're always great. They can always do payment plans. So even for a guy like this, they'll work with you. And anyone that's in the X Plus group knows that, or is into collecting these. So yeah, not much else to say, but just go out and get him before it's too late. You really don't want to miss him. He truly is just an amazing figure. Probably, right now, my figure of the year. I'm going to say it. I know he was probably figure of the year when he first originally came out, but he's so good that I would honestly put him up for figure of the year this year. So far, we still got a long ways to go, but I'm excited. That's how much I like this guy. He really does catch the eye a lot. So, I hope you enjoyed looking at him. This little quick look at. And, I'll be making some more videos as we go along. Have some other X Plus figures coming. Because of that, I might actually watch Revenge of Godzilla, which is going to be awful, but I think everyone knows why I would watch that film. But yeah, definitely strongly recommend picking them up, and I'll see you guys soon.